Welcome to Arctic Air Heating and Cooling. Today I'm going to be replacing this condensate overflow switch on this carrier package unit. Let's get started. There's quite a few parts for this process. You can see at the beginning I've removed the covers for the electrical compartment, removed the service panel for the blower compartment. I'll have to remove that other panel as well. On the other side, you can see here that the condensate overflow switch is that box right there. And this condensate overflow switch connects to both contactors for compressor 1 and compressor 2, and then has a wire that comes out and runs all the way back inside of this blower compartment and goes down into the very bottom of that evaporator coil, this coiled white wire right here. You can see here that I have the old condensate overflow switch removed. I'll describe how that works here in a second. I've removed the cover panel for the blower compartment and then have just cut the wire for the old condensate overflow switch, which connects to this plug that goes to the sensor that actually sits inside the condensate pan itself. This wire would then trace this harness all the way back inside here and connect to where obviously it was before. Now, some information about this condensate overflow switch. It looks very different in person than it does on the schematic, naturally. This is our compressor 1 contactor, and this is our compressor 2 contactor. And you can see in there that we have that condensate overflow switch. And that is this right here, both on the contactor 1 for compressor 1 and contactor 2 for compressor 2, that little switch right there. Zoom in a little bit on that. This condensate overflow switch has 6 wires coming out of the bottom and 2 wires coming out of the top. The 2 wires in the top are going to that sensor in the condensate overflow or the condensate pan. And if that sensor senses water touching it, it recognizes that the condensate pan is full of water. It's going to cut power to our 2 contactors and keep the unit from operating so we don't get water inside the building and risk water damage. The 6 wires coming out of the bottom are where the control comes in. The brown and red wire connect to the main control board and pull 24 volts to control this little board inside of here. You can see it just comes out of that housing. The other 4 wires, the 2 blue wires, as you saw in the schematic, go to the compressor 1 contactor, and the 2 orange wires go to the compressor 2 contactor. As I mentioned, if it senses water, it's going to open this relay and cut 24 volts to both compressor 1 and compressor 2. The way you can test it is you see the 2 blue wires on there and the 2 orange wires on there. That solder connection to the board, you can take your needle point leads, and if you test between the 2 blue wires and read 24 volts, obviously that means that it's open and this relay is not passing power. Same thing with the 2 orange wires. You connect to the 2 orange wires, you have 24 volts, this relay is open and it's not passing power. Something else that's helpful is that little LED light right there. That will flash red with certain codes that mean that this relay is sensing an issue. So if that LED light is off, your system's working fine. And if that LED light is on, we've got a condensate issue. I've got the new condensate switch here that's gonna get wired in to these male and female plugs. Really easy to keep them apart. Carrier does that to help us out a little. So I'm gonna wire this one in, get all the wires connected and zip tied back in place all nice and neat, and I'll show you what it looks like when it's done. Now to wrap things up, we have the condensate overflow switch installed. We have all our connections put back together there, everything zip tied in place, looking nice and neat. I have my jumper on here between R and Y1 so we can test that cooling. You can see that condensate overflow switch is no longer tripped. We have our wire and sensor ran inside of our blower compartment as well here, and then that new connection made right there. And this customer is good to go with the new condensate overflow switch.